Hello, it's Kia here from Kia Creates, bringing you journal inspiration, stickers and playful creativity, and we're back with another Winter Journal Challenge video. If you don't know about the Winter Journal Challenge, just go and check out my day one video where I made a title page for it, and you'll find all of the information there, all of the prompts, all of the details about how the challenge works, everything like that can be found in that video. If you've already seen that, welcome back. I hope you've been enjoying the videos from the other creators. We've had so many wonderful things so far for the challenge, and there's just been so much creative and festive inspiration flying around that I'm really excited to get back into my journal and make some more. So the prompt for today is scent of the season, and I was having to think about this and thinking about what the scent of the season would be for me, like what smell reminds me of Christmas. And I was like, I can't think of anything. And then Will said, well, what about rosemary? And I was like, oh my god, like that's so obviously the scent of the season. I don't know how I didn't think of that. That's why I've got a little sprig here, which I can smell now, and it smells delicious because I've just cut it from the garden. This is literally Christmas in a smell. Like when it's Christmas, we have it in our festive cocktails, we have it in the roast potatoes, the gravy, whatever, basically anything that we're making, this is going in it. And the whole house just smells of rosemary for the entire Christmas, and I just love it so much. It's one of my favourite smells. I'm just sniffing it again. Sometimes I just go out to the garden to cut some to sniff it. I know that seems mean, but you're supposed to keep trimming it whether you're using it or not. So I'm just like, I'm just going to go out and have a sprig of rosemary to sniff. That's probably weird, but 'tis the season. So I'm telling you all of this because I want to make a journal spread dedicated to rosemary as the scent of the season. So that's what we're going to do. So I've picked a spread in my journal. Where is it? I've made lots of fun things. I've actually filmed quite a few videos of me making these spreads. So I'm not going to show you yet, but they're fun. So I need to crack on with editing those. In case you haven't noticed, I've putting out more videos than usual lately, and it's just because I'm having so much fun and I have so many things to share with you. So I've picked this page for our Rosemary Alicious spread. I'm just going to pop these on, and I'm going to show you this little idea I've been working on, because right now hanging up in the living room we have a rosemary garland that I was very excited to make now that we have a rosemary plant, and I kind of want to make a miniature version of that in this journal. So I've been making these, which are like tiny paper versions of sprigs of rosemary, and I'm going to show you how I made those, and then we're going to go ahead and put them into a little garland for this spread, and I'm very excited to see how it turns out. Here we have my little Blue Peter moment, because these are the ones I made earlier. I thought if I made 10 paper rosemaries on camera it might take quite a while, and the first few went a bit wrong because I had a bit of an experiment, but I finally got there. So I'm going to show you how I made them with the last two. I used this paper. It'd be better if it was green on both sides, but I used some pen to like colour in the bits where the other side shows through. You'll see that later. So you could use whatever paper you want for this. I just cut it into a little strip and then make lots of tiny little cuts along one side to make a kind of fringe. I've seen people use crepe paper for this, and then they like wrap it around the wire, but I just used slightly thicker paper and it kind of just glued onto itself, so I didn't need to wrap it around anything, so that was good. I'm cutting this one down to size a little bit because it would have been a bit long like that, and then I just glue the side with Pritt stick that's like not cut, that's not fringe, but it kind of goes onto the fringe a little bit, and then I twist it round itself slightly at an angle so that as you go along the fringe bits kind of stick out and layer over each other. It's sort of hard to explain, but hopefully you can kind of see what I'm doing here, and it just sticks to itself. It's a little bit fiddly to like twist it around sometimes. I have to have a little adjustment, but it kind of doesn't matter because rosemary hanging on a garland looks a little bit scraggly anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And then I just sort of like pinch it into shape and then choose the side that I think looks the nicest, and then I just like trimmed some little bits off to make some of them look pointy and not so rectangular, which you don't really need to do, but I kind of had fun like just trimming my little paper rosemary for the garland. And then I get a green pen and I just draw some lines on it, and I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like drawing lines on this makes it look really nice. It sort of like brings it to life and makes it look actually like rosemary. So there we go, that's how I made my paper rosemary, my tiny paper rosemary in real time. And then here's a little time lapse of me cutting, snipping and twisting and gluing and drawing and making just a couple more. I think they look really cute. I think they actually look like miniature rosemary, and they're just like so unnecessary. I don't know why I have to make a paper rosemary garland, but like that's the point of journaling. You can just do whatever you want, and this idea possessed me, and then I just couldn't stop. I thought this looked cute, but on my rosemary garland at home I also have some dried orange slices, so I thought, why not? Let's keep going, let's recreate this. And I probably won't be showing you the actual garland that's in my house because I think it'll be a bit of a disappointment compared to the one in my journal, because the one in my journal just looks way better. The garland I've made is like a bit messy and sparse, but I love it still. But the paper one is definitely better. So I'm making these little orange slices. What I really like about this is when it all comes together, spoiler alert, I think it looks nice. So it kind of doesn't really matter how the individual orange slices look. It was fun to just make these really quickly, just kind of like doodle them. I think that individually they don't look that great, but then all hanging together they have a nice effect. You'll see. Once the little paper, rosemary and orange slices were made, it was time to choose a string for this garland. Originally I was thinking about using the string I used in my Winter Journal Challenge title page, but that was a bit thick and I didn't want to like repeat myself, and then I found this gold thread that stuck to the page with Pritt stick and washi tape pretty easily, so I just kind of draped that across, and I thought the gold would give it a bit more of a Christmassy festive touch. And then I used Pritt stick to stick down the rosemary and then stick down the orange slices, but cut a little slit in them, so some of the orange slice would go behind the string and some of it would go in front of it, which makes it look like the string has been threaded through it, which makes it look a little bit more like an actual garland, which I was happy about. And while I'm putting this all together at super speed, I wanted to ask you what your scent of celebration is. I said scent of the season earlier in this video. I was thinking of soundtrack to the season, but similar kind of thing. What smell just really makes you think of Christmas? And will you be making a journal spread about it for the Winter Journal Challenge? Let me know in the comments. And I also want to know what other things you think would make a cute little garland to drape across your journal pages, because this really sparked a bit of inspiration for me, and I thought, oh my gosh, imagine the possibilities of making little cute garlands for your journal pages, like little decorations or candy canes or I don't know what. But if you have any other ideas, let me know. And please do try out making your own little garland of rosemary or oranges or anything else, because I think it's such a cute idea and I'd love to see us all give it a go in our own way. The tiny garland is made, and now what? Sometimes I have a plan for my pages, not very often. Most of the time I'm just kind of going in intuitively, like I have no idea what I'm going to make. And then occasionally, on times like this, I have an idea that I really want to make, but then I haven't thought past that. So this was one of those times. I wanted to make a garland. I was possessed by that idea. By the way, very sorry about how many times I say the word garland in this video. It doesn't sound like a word anymore. But then I thought, once I made that, I didn't know what I was going to do with the rest of the page. So the rest of it was just kind of like experimenting. I started with lettering. For some reason I wrote rosemary massive across the page, and I kind of hated how I wrote it, and I was like, no, I'm going to hate this lettering, what am I going to do? But I trusted the process and it kind of came together. I liked the writing that I did for Scent of Celebration. It was kind of the similar lettering to the one I did for the Winter Journal Challenge title page, but I just thought, oh god, this rosemary is just not going to look nice. The black outline didn't even feel like it was pulling it together, but then I added some of those dots with the like little silver liner pens that I use every time I'm in my Christmas journal, but I never have a good way to describe them. I'll link them in the description and you can see what they are, but they add such a nice like metallic sheen that I feel like those dots are what made the lettering look nicer to me. I don't know if it does to you or not, but to me it just looks like, you know, when you have like foliage with Christmas lights in. I almost feel like rosemary could be made out of like bushes on this title, and it's got like tiny little Christmas lights in. And because this pen looked like lights on the lettering, I also put a few on the garland as well, because I thought it could look like the garland was made of string lights. And I'm saying garland again. After I'd made this and after I'd done the title, I was a little bit stuck with what to do with the rest of the page, because I wanted these to be like the two main focal points, and I was like, how do I fill this in? Obviously I can't leave gaps because that's not me, I'm gonna have to fill it in, but like I wanted to fill it in with small things so the garland and the title stood out. So I did add a couple of stickers. This one's from Marigona. Sorry to anyone who hates this, but I did like go crazy with the ink to sort of distress this sticker, because the background paper is like a nice sepia colour and the white outline just stood out too much, so I did like distress that rather a lot. And the same with this sticker from my Seasonal Sensation sticker sheet, which is It's a pine tree and a pine candle, but it kind of went with the like foliage theme of the page, and it's still scent related. So I wanted to put that on there as well, you know, candles and scent of celebration, and it just feels like it completes this little festive scene with like a garland hanging over, a candle crackling. We have our little basket with, I think it's pine hanging out of it, but it looks like it could be rosemary if you really wanted it to. I then add some little dots and stars and doodles, you know, my usual, but it feels like it kind of beds these stickers into the page. I don't know if that makes sense. Hopefully some of you will know what I mean by that. And I wanted to fill in the space just a little bit more before I then concluded it by writing all over it. So I used a little bit of this printable, which has been in my Christmas journaling box for ages. I used part of it and not another. Printed it onto sticker paper. I think it's from La Green Witch on Instagram and Etsy. Hopefully I'm right, but she makes really cute things anyway, so even if it's not hers, just go and check her out. But yeah, I thought this would be nice to go in the background of the page. And then I also wanted to add another sticker, so I added one from my A Light in the Dark winter journal stickers sheet. These are misprints, so they've like cut slightly off, that's why they're not in the shop, and they've kind of made it into my sticker box. But I just trimmed some of the white off so you couldn't tell that it was wonky, and just added this little candle in the corner as well. It's not advisable to put a real candle this close to a paper garland, but it's a sticker candle so we can get away with it. And then I wanted to fill in this space at the top with a kind of, well, originally I thought I would do like hanging lights or like hanging stars, but I kind of started doodling what looks like it could be rosemary or some other foliage and berries. I wanted it to just be so messy that you can't really tell what it is, but it just looks like a nice far away in the background thing, like pattern to fill the space. So I drew some little lines and stars in between and just kind of wanted it to blend in basically. I didn't know what I was doing, but it sort of looks nice when you look at it all together. Hopefully you think so too. And then I added a little bit more washi up here because it felt like the only part of the page border that didn't have some, so that completed it for me. And then before we write all over it, I added one little sticker in this gap I could see. It's of some mistletoe, but I distressed the heck out of that also. And now it's actually time to fill in the gaps by writing all about my love of rosemary and how rosemary smells like Christmas to me, the things that we have rosemary in, like the food and drink, and just why it's my scent of celebration. That's what the writing says, because I know you probably can't read it because it's very tiny, but I love filling in spaces like this with really tiny writing because I just think it looks really cool, and it's kind of giving me like spell book energy. But anyway, here is a look at the spread in the light, and because it felt right, I'm filming this right next to the actual little rosemary plant. I could smell rosemary the entire time I was making these pages, and I feel like it made it extra magical. So I added a little bit, just a tiny dab of rosemary essential oil to these pages and took some dried dried rosemary in there as well. So hopefully that'll just keep the pages scented and keep that magic in there, which feels right for this senses themed edition of the Winter Journal Challenge. If you haven't already, definitely go and check out the videos in the Winter Journal Challenge playlist linked below to see all of the wonderful creators' interpretations of these Winter Journal Challenge prompts so far. And also don't forget to have a little watch of my flip through of my first ever Winter Journal Challenge, which I've recently posted, my Christmas market vlog. I have another flip through of my slightly spookmas journal coming soon as well, so there's plenty of festive creative inspiration to keep you fueled this season. So I'll see you next time, and until then, happy festive journaling. Bye! Pages.